Hello, everybody. I'm Howie. Thanks for hanging out with me. We have, to my right, we have Buddy with us from Chicago area. We have
Bang, bang.
New Hampshire Eric with us. We have the one and only Brian is Red. We also have Matt with us from Georgia Lina. He's kind of like me. I'm right on the border of Pennsy and Jersey, so yeah.
And the MetLife Stadium of the South.
And last but not least, my road dog, St. John.
I'm right on the border of Boston and the ocean.
Boston and Boston.
Yeah.
So park your car. Park your car.
Before we get into it, we'd like to thank our long-term sponsor, DJEventPlanner.com. And you can see that down below when this video goes to YouTube, and you'll see our other sponsors as well. So, guys, we were brainstorming. We had talked with Boston John earlier, and we're like, oh, well, maybe we can do, something about NAMM, being that, I thought maybe Jay would be here. And I know Brian has got his hands actually on some of the new equipment, but they did that at 9:00, John Young show. So
Gear's boring anyway.
Yeah. Well, does anybody have anything they would like to talk about? You could just make a hallway talk out of this.
Do you want me to spitball some topics?
Whatever. Yeah, you're good at that. You're very good.
I'm pretty good at
that. Right on.
I'm pretty good at that. So I made a post on Facebook the other day, and it got some love, and I thought it was interesting. It would be interesting to discuss, and I'll read this to you, and give me your reactions and feelings on it. And I'm not trying to cause controversy or hate on anybody, but I've been thinking there seems to be a difference between DJs on social media and social media DJs.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yes.
So what I meant by that is there are DJs who go out and work and do things and go on social media and maybe show what they did. And then there are those who just kind of focus on just these pictures of this marvelous life they're leading, but you don't really know anything about them as a DJ. It's odd to me. Is anybody else seeing this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I felt the same way. It's like, hey, like in here anyway, at least we openly discuss our mistakes, but it seems those particular people will put the very best part of it, and I get it. I'm guilty of it too. Back in the day, if I didn't have a full dance floor, I would just kind of, frame it for those 20 people that are raging, and it would look like, look, I got a full dance floor.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I remember when I was posting gig logs, when I was doing a lot of weddings years ago, someone said, well, how come you don't show us when the dance floor is dead? And I'm thinking to myself, do you want to see when the dance floor is dead? I mean, is that anything you're interested in seeing? I can shoot it, but it's kind of boring. Most of the time, the dance floor isn't dead. So let me show you when things went well and tell you why they went well.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about something else too. John and I were having this conversation the other night. I don't know if you remember, John, but we were talking about how there are, okay, so let's take Buddy, for example. He's a really handsome guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So Buddy can get by on his looks. Okay, he just can. He doesn't have to know how to DJ or anything else. Okay, but then you take like some pretty young girl in a tight dress who's DJing. Look, I'm cool with working with what you got. I'm totally cool with that. You're supposed to do that. Whatever you have, work it. It's okay. I think it was Trevor Scrappa who was talking about this young lady in Melbourne who was DJing on Twitch, and she's young, and she's, I guess, a Coke bottle, and she has been asked to open some Wonderland festival or something for some famous DJ. And my question to Trevor was, if you had the same skill that she had, do you think you'd be opening Wonderland at DJ? You got to work with what you've got. It's okay to do that.
Unfortunately, I think sometimes the truth is they're doing everything that they do in the movies and TVs and everything else that you see. Hey, if she's attractive and she can blend a couple songs together, yeah. Why why get a guy like me? Take her.
A guy like us, or guys like us, none of us are supermodels in here. We actually have to know what we're doing to get work.
Right.
We have to be good. We don't have a gimmick. I suppose.
Wait a minute. You see me from the side. Look at me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Eric. You're the exception.
Wow, what's going on there?
Okay.
Eric, I still think that you ought to have a brand new website and be like DJ Tony Soprano. Have Tony Soprano DJ your wedding.
Well, why not?
That's it.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah. Tony Soprano stunt double can DJ your wedding. No, it's okay to work with what you've got. It's totally cool to do that. If you're young, if you're attractive, if you're tall, if you're a space alien and people want to see a space alien DJ, that's fine. But if you're not a space alien or you're not a supermodel, you really got to be good. You've got to be exceptionally good to get work.
Right.
Thoughts?
I think of Paris Hilton when you talk about that.
Her controller isn't even plugged in.
And somebody snuck a shot, and there was a guy sitting on a milk crate with his controller and computer, and she was just making believe type of thing. I was like, oh man. I mean, that stuff happens. Look at that one guy, DJ Pauly from Jersey Shore. I mean, there's no way that guy became a DJ in a couple of months.
No,
there's no way.
No.
That was a manufactured character, I think, that created. That was a fictional representation of what a Jersey Shore DJ was going to look like.
I'm actually putting an argument forward for those who do fake it, and I'm playing devil's advocate here because I know normally we would all just be hating on these folks, but you know what comes to mind to me? Milli Vanilli.
I was just going to say Milli Vanilli. Yeah.
Well, actually, the song was really good.
Yeah, wasn't it?
It was. I was playing it, and then. Man, it was so sad that Rob had killed himself. I was like, oh man, like how sad is that? Because it was good. I mean, people loved it. I mean, it got a Grammy, right?
I guess people were burning the album in protest and all angry.
Oh God!
As a DJ, I'm thinking to myself, hold on a minute. The video was very entertaining. I remember seeing it in the club, and there was this friend of mine, and every time we saw each other, we would grab hands and do the chest bump like they did in the Milli Vanilli video. That was the joke. It was an entertaining video to watch. The girl, it's true video, and Blame It on the Rain, and Don't Forget My Number, and all that stuff. Loved it. Got the full package. It looked great. It sounded great. And if it looks great and it sounds great, who cares if it's real?
Right.
Are you entertained?
Look at how famous the Monkees became because they had a TV show.
Yeah.
It's all voice and hard writing. Yeah. But
they actually were singing those songs.
they, after
Mickey
a while,
Dolenz was singing the songs.
Well,
Yeah.
aside from Peter and Mike, none of them were musicians to start with. I mean, Mickey Dolenz came from Monkey Boy or some television sitcom or something.
yeah, the black and white circus
Boy. That's it. Yeah. But I mean, it happens in all walks of life. I mean, you have novelizations that are done by ghostwriters. You have songs that are written by artists for other artists. It's, just Prince didn't sing Manic Monday doesn't make it any less of an entertaining song. And that was just on the radio today. And they followed it up with I Would Die For You. I'm like, somebody at the radio station knows.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have done that otherwise.
Right.
But for us, I mean, it's based on putting in the time and effort. I mean, we have to be our own website engineers. We do our own advertising. We're the talkers on the phone, the negotiators, handing out the business cards. Like we are the rubber to the road people. Like there's no free passes for any of us here. I know everyone in this room really works hard for what they get. By the same token, it's, we're always so hyper focused on the events that we maybe don't always shoot as much video as we should. Or we get a snapshot, or we get a little thing of when the dance floor is full, and it always happens to be one of 3 songs that we play that the dance floor is full. It's like, I don't think they want to see him doing that to Uptown Funk again on another video. Yet a 15 video of them have to change the backing track or something,
Maybe no more Cupid Shuffle shots. Maybe that's
if you see the photo and it's playing like Celebration and everyone's like moving to the left and to the right, and like that wasn't what he was playing. That's what's going on there. I see right through that.
It's a remix right there. That's what you call
it. But we do our best to try to be all things to everyone. But for the work that we put in, the social media comes secondary, I think, for a lot of us. You essentially, Brian, you have a channel, of course, and a substantial amount of followers. The rest of us are the trench guys. Like we're doing the work, and when we get a chance to put a photo up, if things slow down, then we need to do more with our advertising. Or if we're too busy, we don't have time to advertise, and the phone's still ringing.
My channel's weird because my channel's not lip service, and my channel's not necessarily telling people exactly what they want to hear. And I'm kind of the opposite of that.
That's what makes it engaging.
It's different. Yeah, it's not the most popular channel out there, but it's the oldest channel out there. So I'm not doing it for lip service. I think a lot of people do. They're making really pretty videos. And they're entertaining, and some of them have told me straight up, look, I'm trying to entertain people. It's for entertainment. It's not necessarily to teach anybody anything. It's to entertain them and give them something to look at, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just doing something a little different. I will tell you, about my fails and my successes, and I'll share ideas, and I'll make mistakes, and so. Yeah, I mean, my channel, I got in at the right time. I got in early, and I'm still here because I'm a moron, because I did not get rich. It just didn't happen, and it still hasn't happened. I'm still waiting on my big fame check, and it hasn't come. So, but I mean, I'm just like you. That's my point is, I guess I'm not doing anything any different than you are doing, which is just out there hustling as a working DJ. I'm not getting a free lunch over here. I wish.
And for your own website, I mean, it's great to post that you have different looks. If you can do something with trussing, that's one corporate event. Or if you can do something with a pretty facade or something unique with lights, you're like, hey, here's an idea. If there's time, when you've got 2 hours to set all this up, go. And it's like, no one's going to see how I'm building it because I got to keep moving, or it's not going to be ready to go when it needs to go. So
you do things as you have time to do them. I mean, that's the channel. There's a lot of stuff I don't show because I don't have time. I'm working, I'm not there to make a reality show. I'm there to perform at an event. And if I have time with the one hand I have available to turn a camera on for 30 seconds, I'll do it. But yeah, I mean, it's
even more strange that you hire someone to come along with you for the purpose of filming you at somebody else's event.
And hire B-roll.
And now it's like,
that'd be cool.
I did that early on. I just hired some because, I'm a solo op guy, and it's like you've got so many people in your ear to either request or, hey, here's what's going to happen next, from the wedding planner and blah blah blah, and I just don't have the time. I never had the time to go out and take my own videos, but then I did get a few, and I put them on my website, and it worked. I haven't updated it forever. But because I had gotten most of my my gigs just word of mouth, really. And I think that's you, Brian. I mean, who
Yeah, it
doesn't
is.
who doesn't know you? I mean, seriously.
Well, in my town, my neighbors don't know who I am.
Well,
So,
that's
yeah.
different. I'm talking about in our
But it
industry.
doesn't matter. That doesn't feed me. Is kind of what this comes back around to.
Well,
I'm very anonymous in my town. What does count and what I am happy about, I don't want to say the word pride, but I guess I do take a little pride in this, is that, the people who book talent in this town know who I am. And if a job comes up that is tough, they give it to me. Because despite my physical disabilities, I can handle it. And I knock it out of the park. If any kind of gig comes up that's challenging or needs a little more attention, I don't get the easy stuff. I get the hard stuff because I know how to navigate the hard stuff. So I do take pride in that. I'm recognized for my strengths and abilities in that regard. And it's,
in spite of me not having, I have a YouTube channel, but I haven't put anything on in a very long time. But it's just word of mouth amongst, and it's good to have that recognition from other people in the industry, because John and I went up to Lake Placid because we knew Eric.
Yeah.
And Eric knew us and he trusted us.
Yeah.
And then we went up 3 times last year.
That's the good networking stuff.
That's like, I mean, I didn't know him, until he started hanging around, and then we got talking, and I saw him at different conferences, and he, and then he puts up these big spectacular things, and it's like, wow. I didn't know you did lighting, and I was like, yeah. And so I showed him a few clips, and he was like, come on up. And poor John was out in the snow filming.
Yeah. But you know what? He lost a lot of his guys to school. That was the whole thing. This year he's got a team trained and he wasn't in such a crunch for needing bodies, but we helped him out, and hopefully, I know
but
we're good to return the favor if we ever needed
you
something.
did that job not because you look like you belong in a boys band. You did that job because you knew how to do the job.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's I guess it's okay if you look like you're in a boys band, or you look like a supermodel, but it's cool. I think it's cool when you can just work based on your strengths and abilities that maybe other people don't possess.
Mm-hmm.
You're called in for a reason because you're the expert, no matter what you look like. I think that's cool.
Yeah, it is cool. And what it reminds me of is that I think I turned you guys onto this. Maybe it was last year. I can't remember. About Hired Gun was the name of the movie, and it was all about like Alice Cooper and these legacy acts. They have a stable of world-class lead guitarists and drummers and everybody, backup singers, the whole bit. And that's kind of like what John and I did. We're hired guns.
Right.
But the big thing that they ended with, and it was Alice Cooper that said it, was, I don't need the very best guitarist in the world. I need a really good guitarist that I can live with on tour for 3 or 4 months. Got to be able to get along
without strangling.
You don't want a
them,
diva.
yes.
Yeah.
You don't want a diva.
Yeah.
Check your attitudes at the door for sure.
Right.
Yeah. And when we went up there, I mean, we did a lot of laughing, though, didn't we, John? I mean,
We sure did. But we got the work done too. We put the time in him. It was a case of, and he didn't have to come around and micromanage us and say like, oh, no, it's like it's handled. These guys are on it, and that's the kind of level of proficiency that we should all crave,
right?
To have for ourselves, regardless whether we're karaoke DJs or if we're doing music bingo or if we're weddings, whatever our category is. Be the best you can be at it and be in demand.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Well, there's a few. Let's see. We haven't heard from 3 guys here.
Well, they don't count.
I thought they were still
together.
thinking.
We have to, right?
See you later.
Any input? Any input, buddy?
I think one of the things that Brian is, when Brian's talking about social media DJs and stuff like that, I think a lot of people who put stuff up on social media, they're deciding who they are putting it up there for. If it's like Brian, something helpful, something to help other people, or they use it as a marketing tool, or they try to be that glamour shot. Yeah, I'm going to use the 80s, 90s glamour shot kind of feel.
Yeah.
That, people are up there, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. And like for me, my social media, it's up there to inform customers. When customers say, hey, can I come to a wedding? No, I record this stuff. Right. Go there, you can see what people are doing. You can watch that. It's not there to, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. And that's one of the things I think that a lot of DJs, it's one of the three things. And some of these guys are very much, look at me. Hey, look what I'm doing here. I'm doing this cool stuff. And, there's DJs we've talked about in the past that, you watch them and it's like, they're not teaching anything. Unlike Brian teaches you and explains to you things. But also, if you're a client and I watch Brian's stuff, I know he's an expert. If I'm a DJ, if I have question, I can get a hold of Brian and get a technical help from him. Not because he's a friend of mine, but because who he is. And the thing is that you can see that in the videos. And that to me is what kind of video you're watching. And again, the DJs you're watching want to get information from. I think those are the DJs that people should stay with. Like right here in TV, this is what it's for. It's for to get information and for you to expand your knowledge versus the glamorous stuff, the glam bands, the glam kind of look.
Well, I thought of you, buddy. I mean, you're doing premium events.
Yeah,
you're driving a vehicle that costs pretty much what I'd pay for this house, and you're not doing it because you look like you belong in a boy band. You're doing it because you're good at what you do, and that's cool. That's so cool. You're not you're working with what you've got, and what you've got is talent, and what you've got is customer service, and I admire that. I think that's amazing. I'm not there, but I'm glad you are. And the fact that you've pulled this off, just, no matter, if you were, I don't know, what's the MoMA guy, the Aquaman guy, or not.
Oh, Jason Momoa, yeah.
There you go, that guy, the Aquaman,
He's just missing the trident. That's all it is.
I will say this, Brian, this past weekend, the wedding show I was just at, I was talking to another DJ, and I asked him, I said, do you watch any DJs on YouTube? He mentioned your name. I'm like, yeah, I get to hang out with him. He's a cool dude. And, it's one of the things that I'm glad to see he watches you because, again, I know him watching you. He's getting great information. And that's the thing is that everyone tries to do the best. And I know a lot of people here, everyone here in this group here, and Howie, everyone else, we all do our best. That's all we can show.
That's all we can do.
Yeah.
And I make plenty of mistakes. And I know I do.
We all do. Yeah. We're human.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have I come on here and I didn't have my mic turned on because, there's no X in the microphone icon here on Zoom, but it's, I look down and I didn't turn the mixing board on. Oh, crap. Because you guys
proves that
Howie, turn your mic on.
Right, it wasn't televised. Nobody saw it. Never happened.
Nobody saw that.
We'll edit that out.
Yeah, fix that in post.
I don't think anything ever gets edited, from our shows, and that's good.
Unfortunately,
it makes it authentic.
Yeah,
it's real. We're not trying to put on a stage performance here. We're just being real people, right. So people can tell.
That live radio DJ versus the voice track.
Thank you for tuning in and watching our show.
Eric, are you winding up to spit some knowledge here?
I don't have that big vehicle like Buddy does.
The baller.
You could fit two of my vehicles in his one. We're in different worlds, he and I. That's it. And I like to believe that whole thing he just said about I can call Brian about anything. Because I called him at 2 a.m. one night. Hey, Brian, what are you wearing? He hung up on me. He hung up on me.
Oh, man.
No, but as far as the whole social media thing goes, I learned this a long time ago. It's no matter what, we all have our own ideas of what we're going to put on there. And we think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread when we post it. And no matter what you put up on there, you're going to have at least a dozen or more people pulling it apart and commenting how this could be better and how this, I almost said so, stinks, or this is terrible. I don't bother with it. If the word of mouth, like you, Howie, and I think John, we all got word of mouth customers, and we survive on them.
Yeah.
I don't need social media to, like you said, Brian. You're not breaking bank on the social media stuff. You're doing it because you love to do it.
Yeah,
and you love to help.
I care about the business. I want to help, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think when it comes to criticism, there's constructive criticism and there's hate.
Right.
And not for some weird reason, I don't know why this is, these DJs who are supposed to be these, extroverts and wordsmiths aren't. They have poor social skills sometimes. I think it's important to stop before you react to comments and read between the lines and find out what this person's really trying to say. They may have tried to say something to you that they were trying to be helpful, but the way they worded it, it's ugly, and you don't like them. But take a minute, walk away for 20 minutes and come back before you reply to that comment, because they may have been trying to help you.
Yeah.
No, or maybe they're morons. I don't know. They could be idiots too. That happens a lot too.
And you can scroll by. I mean, I had that one guy, and he's famous for this, telling every DJ he sees that has speakers close together. He goes, "Why are you using your speakers for headphones?" And I said, if you watch the video, you could clearly see it's raining out. So I have my speaker
I'm under the tent.
Under the tent. I mean, really, it's just that simple. So I just scrolled by. I was like, I'm not getting into it, because he will. I've seen him. He argues with people all the time on social media, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that.
You don't see any of those trees with the forest in the way.
It's weird, because he's right. I mean, you want to spread your speakers apart to get sound, but the other side of it, as working DJs, we all know that it's good sometimes to keep your stuff close to you. You don't necessarily want to have it way over there where you can't control what's happening to it. Maybe that's not always a good idea. Maybe it's not always a great idea to spread your lights all over the room, because maybe they're not all going to be there when you're done, depending on what kind of gig you're doing. There's a lot of factors involved there. But just to come up with an absolute that it must be this way. Yeah. That's a little weird sometimes,
Very event and venue dependent, and it doesn't matter what you watch, too. I mean, you could watch the same fight show or wrestling or whatever, and that stage might be set up a little different depending on which arena they're in. But I have a few thoughts on the topic at hand. I think there's a big commonality between the successful, talented DJ and the successful, maybe not very good DJ or mediocre at best DJ, and that is the it factor. So if that person who got that booking at the big festival wasn't any good at all, I don't think that they would still get that booking. Maybe they're not as good as someone who eats, sleeps, and breathes all of this, but they get on that lineup. And that's because they have something. There's something about them, whether it's charisma, whether it's looks. There's something that connects them with that audience. There's something that makes that promoter think that it's going to work.
Yeah.
And, I think the same is true with us. And I know for a lot of us, it's our work ethic. And a lot of us, it's our presentation style. Like we talked about Buddy with the premium events. And I imagine, I've never been to any of your gigs, but I imagine if I go to one of Eric's gigs, I think I would get a lot of the Eric that we see here, which is the funny guy cracking jokes and everything.
I think we get the tone down Eric in here.
Yeah, probably.
I think we're getting toned down Eric. Yeah.
He's probably a lot more amped up on that. And I think a lot of us are good at feeding off of the crowds too. and going with that flow as well. So it's that engagement, it's that connectivity, it's that it factor. And I think that's why there's that margin sometimes for, you don't have to be the best DJ in the world to get the most exposure in the world. But, or, maybe you are, but you're not getting all of that, but maybe you don't know how to put yourself out there enough. So I think it's just like anything else. There's a lot that we can all learn from each other.
Cream flows to the top, I think. I mean, if you, if you're good at this and you've been doing this for a while, you can work off reputation. I believe that. If you've been good to people, if you've been a jerk, it's not going to work out for you. But if you've been good to people and you've taken care of your peers in your market and people trust you, you're going to stay out there. I think if there's too much ego, or if you perhaps aren't as good as you'd like to believe you are, and you just get frustrated because you keep getting ran over, and maybe it's okay that you're not there. That's called healthy pruning.
Oh yeah.
It's time to go. You didn't have that much to offer in the first place. So, the least you can do is have a good attitude. That's the least you can do.
Well, I can say for a fact here, there's in this particular panel tonight, Jay's not here, but I would include him and Brian and John. What you see here is exactly how we are in real life. We're not the John does that better than I do. The radio voice. I
learned that from Movie Phone.
Did you?
Press 3 for Superman. Yeah.
No, I mean, and that's cool because it's like a hallway talk at conventions. What we're doing here, so I think it's pretty cool. So I think we're at the time, folks. So
good enough.
We are going to put a fork in it and say good night. We'll be here.
Happy Greek Easter to everybody.